welcome to my channel. In this video, we are gonna be talking about brows and how to shape them. Yes, you are going to shape them yourself. A little scary, but it's okay. I'm gonna hold your hand, we're gonna get through this. I'm gonna teach you some tricks and tips on how to make them semi-even, because let's be real, they're not twins, they're sisters, so don't stress, we got this. So let's get to it. So I already have some makeup on my brows, if you're gonna tell already. So what you're gonna wanna do is start with clean brows. So I am going to remove them with just a makeup wipe, and you wanna kind of try to go along with the hairline. You don't wanna necessarily be rubbing back and forth too much. You might lose some brows that you're like, hey, I need you to stay there. So close enough that they're pretty much clean. You get the general idea. Normally I would do this in the morning when I have fresh face, you know, right before my skincare routine, because you don't want to have any oils kind of messing with you, fighting against you. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is how to determine your shape. So your brows kind of already have like a natural arch, and you might want to keep that. It's probably going to be easiest. For me, because I did fall and hit my head, had a scar, this brow is actually a little bit higher than this brow. So I have to kind of make them look a little even. What you're gonna need is either a flesh tone pencil, maybe a white eyeliner that you have, pretty much anything. For the purpose of this video, I'm gonna be using black. Not my favorite, but just so you can see. Also, if you have mini scissors to kind of trim your brows with, a spoolie of some kind to kind of brush them into place. I'm actually going to start off by trimming them a little bit. It's been a while since I've done that. So what you're going to do to do that is start off by brushing upwards. And you can kind of see there's a little bit of an overhang, and it's not that bad, but for me, I'm just gonna trim it a little bit. So I'm gonna use my handy dandy stork scissors and just trim just a little bit. And then when you get past the arc, this is the arc, you are gonna brush downwards. And you don't wanna get too crazy on this, just trimming a little bit. If you've never done this before, you might be like, ooh, that's really long. It's okay. And then brushing it back into place, make sure that you didn't go too crazy. And we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side. And it's easier to go with your scissors the opposite way of the hair grows, so it's going into the scissors and you're not fighting it. And same thing on the lower half. Brushing them down. And opposite. Perfect. And brushing them into place. So now that you've tamed the overgrown hairs, you are going to want to actually shape them. So to do this, you are going to create guidelines for yourself. So it's kind of going to be like connect the dots. So what we're going to be using as our guide is the golden rule, the golden triangle, if you've heard of it. It's what happens in nature. It's a mathematic ratio which tells us what is most aesthetically pleasing. If you've ever noticed in nature, like the conch shell, the spiral, it has a certain ratio that it's just beautiful aesthetically. So we're going to kind of do that to our face, for our brows specifically. So we're going to use that kind of as a guideline. So this part of the brow is going to be a certain ratio to this part of the brow. And to find that out, we're going to use our facial features as a guideline. So I'm going to be using my spatula to kind of show you a straight line. You can use your brush if you need to, or a pencil, but for me this is just going to be easier. So we're going to just line up where our brows start. So from the nostril, you're just gonna go straight up. I'm gonna take my handy dandy guide and place it and draw up. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And then you're gonna take the outside from the corner of your nostril to the corner of your eye and line up. And this is where your brow should end. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And then you're gonna find where your arc should be. So you're gonna line up again with the nostril, but you're gonna use the end of your iris. So the black circle inside your eye, you're gonna use the edge of that to kind of determine where your arc should be. So mine is about right here. So I'm gonna just do a mark. And that's where it should be on that side. And on that side as well. So you're feeling a little crazy, that's okay. What you're gonna do next is kind of connect the dots. So I am going to use this angle from this angle, and I'm using my natural brow of where it kind of starts, and I am just going to connect of where it should be. And then again, from that top point to the bottom. Looking pretty, huh? And I'm gonna do the same thing to this top as well. And again, same thing. So what you're gonna do is do the bottom as well. So I'm kind of using, this is a guideline. If I were to bring this down a little bit longer, it starts to create a box. And you can even make sure that this is centered too, and where they start, going this way. And same thing for the top, if you need to double check. It now looks like I have a unibrow, that's cool. So I'm gonna do same thing, keeping that angle. And same thing, angle. It's all about them angles in brows. And the other brow. So what you're doing is kind of creating a guideline of what hairs you want to keep, and anything outside that line is what you're going to be plucking. So just to kind of go over how to pluck, you're gonna take your tweezers. There's a slanted edge. The edge that is longer is what you're gonna want to kind of trail with. And you are actually going to want to pull the hair in the direction it grows. And if you need to, if you're like, I'm really sensitive, you can kind of make the area a little bit taut. So when you pull it, it's not gonna hurt as bad. If you're super sensitive, maybe not do it. You can always use an eyebrow razor or kind of just go over it with makeup and pretend it's not there. That's what I've been doing. But for me, I'm gonna tweeze. And if you have already washed your brows, maybe you did already do like a facial oil, you can just do a little bit of powder and it's gonna give you some grip to actually get in there. So I'm just gonna start plucking my brows and shaping my brows. So I'll be right back. So I got it all up in my mirror, took out all those baby hairs that were a little overgrown, and I wiped off all those marks. So you can kind of see, you get a little bit more of an outline of where your brows are gonna be. So the next step would be to fill them in, which I will be doing my next video on, so check it out.